Hello everyone once again and welcome back to Packs and Recreation. And today we're going to open our first Yu-Gi-Oh product, which is none other than the Legendary Collection 25th Anniversary Edition. Now, it's funny that I always say in pretty much every video that I started as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, or I spend most of my time as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and this is the first time I open anything Yu-Gi-Oh related. And the reason for that is basically the reason why I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh, which is it got too crazy for me. With all the, the link summoning and all that stuff, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I dropped, which I have nothing against the game and I respect people that like it. My problem is more on for me, it got too complex and I had something else going in my life. So I was like, I guess I need to drop. And that's it. Because technically, I started playing Pokemon trading card game. It was a very short affair. And then I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time. And it was my thing. And I loved the anime and all that stuff. And Magic was always like the game for grown people, right? This is the hardcore thing. And then I came back to Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit, play mostly video games. Then Magic the Gathering, and I've been playing Magic the Gathering for a long time now. And I follow what Yu-Gi-Oh has been doing, right? And Konami, with the Duel Links and all that stuff, has tried to bring back the simplicity of Yu-Gi-Oh! And now, in the 25th anniversary, they launched this product. And I know what is in this product, and I, as a Magic player as well, I want to I don't know if I'm going to open more Yu-Gi-Oh products, maybe, in the future, but this is the main difference between Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering doesn't know how to do an anniversary product, Yu-Gi-Oh does. Let's remember that Yu-Gi-Oh has, launched some stuff like the Kaiba suitcase that I really want to get my hands on, but I can't find one. I couldn't find one and I can't yet. And now this. Now, this is like, what, $25, $30, $20, depending on where you live and, taxes and all this stuff. And let's compare this to the 30th anniversary Magic product. This is $1,000 for, things that you can play with. And you can play with most of the cards here, except for these three, the Legendary God cards. Obviously, we need to discuss the difference between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and why this is possible for Yu-Gi-Oh! And not for Magic. Mostly because Magic doesn't have a list of things that you can't reprint, and also because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is always going on a power creep, so you can play all the cards in here, but they are not going to be any good in today's game unless they have like a crazy level of support, like the White Eyes Blue Dragon or the Dark Magician stuff, which are cards that get support just because they are fan favorites, not really because they are that good at all. But, if you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh!, this is what you care about. These are your cards. So, and you can play with these because these are the anime cards, in the anime colors even. So I will say that, as a note to Magic, I will say, well, my dear friends, you could do this with the Black Lotus and the Mox and the Power 9 and everything. Just, if you want to print, basically, what is basically proxies, do it, but at $25. Don't go that way. What is in here that makes it such a great anniversary product for Yu-Gi-Oh lovers? And this is just this is cheap because this is for old farts like me. This is to think about the 25 years of Yu-Gi-Oh! This is not like a, competitive edge kind of thing. It's just like, remember the good old times? Yay, that kind of thing, which is what you want for a nostalgic product. So what you get is all three, the original Egyptian god cards, which are, the legendary Winged Dragon of Ra, Slifer the Sky Dragon, and Obelisk the Tormentor, which is like, yeah, baby. And then you get three of the more emblematic cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! Of all time. The White Eyes, the Blue Eyes White Dragon, the Dark Magician, and the Red Eyes Black Dragon. Because Joey fans, right? And then you get one booster of each of the 6 first expansions of Yu-Gi-Oh! Legend of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, Metal Raiders, Spell Ruler, Pharaoh's Servant, which is my favorite, Dark Crisis, and Invasion of Chaos. And to be honest, I kind of disconnected a little bit back in the day from Pharaoh's Servant, and I just bought the specific cards that I wanted. So even back in the day, just buy the singles. And then you also get one of these 6, but in the new type of card that is like century secret, quarter century secret rare technology. So let's see, this doesn't weigh anything at all. Again, this is a nostalgic product for fans. Like, you can't go wrong with this. This is for fans Like, you could just print proxies if you want, wizards. You could do something like this. I can't believe that I'm saying look at Konami, because if you know Konami's history, yeah, that thing that they did with Metal Gear and all that stuff, yeah, Konami's in a different place right now. But in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh, like, come on, learn from them. They know how to milk us. They launched these dual links with all the nostalgic cards and all that stuff. Now the box is pretty much empty, as you can see. And Yu-Gi-Oh does this a lot, and I don't know why they do such a big box so that it's empty and your cards kind of dance there after a while. But I digress. So these are the 6 cards plus the 7th. They are already kind of bent because too much foil. I can already tell which is the card that I got in the secret technology because of the color of the back, but whatever. And then the boosters, right? And then the rest of the box is empty. You know, is it? I wish it wasn't the case, because again, you can fit Magic cards in here. Like, this is a bunch of space for Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what's up? Actually, you can. It's better storage to have them like this, and then put the cards in here. And even then, they dance around. It's like, I don't quite get it. I get it that this box is very nice looking. It's a cheap product, you know, that kind of thing. I get it. And, you know, if the box was smaller, it wouldn't feel as premium. So I get that. But at the same time, what's up with this, right? So, I don't know. Again, cheap product, but it's nostalgic is the whole point. So the 6 boosters, they are in order, so that's a great detail. You have Blue Eyes White Dragon, Metal Raider, Spell Ruler, Pharaoh Servant, Dark Crisis, and Invasion of Chaos. All English edition, special tag for 25th anniversary. Obviously not first edition or anything. And then the legendary cards. Let's see the legendary cards. We already saw them, but you know, and they have a little bit of a random component. So if you really want a specific card in the quarter of a century secret technology, so Obelisk the Tormentor, Kaiba's card, limited edition. Like, look at that. Obviously, the description that you can't play with this card. This is actually like a proxy card. See, like blue on the back. Same for a Slifer, the Sky Dragon, and the Winged Dragon of Ra. You can't play with them. These are the anime cards. They have different color backs. Like, yeah. So look at that thing. But you know, what's the purpose of this? You just frame them or something. That this is for you to be like, oh my god, remember this, and that's it. Blue Eyes White Dragon. These are actually legal. You can play with this. Dark Magician and the Red Eyes Black Dragon. And obviously we spoil ourselves because of the back, but this is the Slifer, the Sky Dragon, quarter of a century secret, you know, foil technology. And I had to be honest, it looks great, but at the same time, you can't read anything that's going on here. It's like, that's something that I find very funny about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, they actually avoid foiling the text so that you can read the text, and it actually has a 25th anniversary shadow in there that you don't have in the other cards. See, like, it's only in the secret quarter of a century foil, so that's very nice. But it's so shiny that reading the title is an exercise in itself. Like right there, you can read. There you go. Slide for the Sky Dragon. But besides that, it's just like shiny, shiny, shiny. And it's already kind of bent. It's a shame. But this is what are you gonna do with this? Frame it. Like, there is nothing else you can do with this. This is just for you to be like, oh my god, Slide for the Sky Dragon, and you know, nostalgia. So thanks for this. This is a very accessible, cheap kind of anniversary thing. This is how you do an anniversary. And if you want to go full nostalgia, again, full of cards that you can. This is okay. The Yu-Gi-Oh cards are smaller, so actually we can do this. You can. I was so much time away from Yu-Gi-Oh that when I came back, I forgot how small the cards were compared to the standard size cards. And I was like, oh, what? Wait, what? And I had kind of a hard time reading them. Not gonna lie. I mean, you get used to it, obviously. Like, I was raised on Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm okay with it, but I forgot how it was for the longest time. So let's go with the boosters. The boosters are, I mean, obviously this is a nostalgic cash grab, but that's the thing. Who's the only people that is going to buy this? The old fans, you know, us. Like, I can ninja this. If it works for you in any way, I ninja another one that I opened off camera, so don't hate me. This is just for nostalgic people to go like, man, Sandstone, for example. I I don't like, you never play with this. Like, even back in the day, this thing is like, 5, like a sacrifice, one sacrifice for a 1,000 or 1,300, as the Americans say, and 1,600 card is like, what the hell is with this? But in the PlayStation games, man, this card was gold, because all your monsters were like 200 attack and stuff like that. So legendary sword, man, look at this. Equip only to a warrior monster against 300 attack and defense. Fire arrow. It looks like an Attack on Titan character for some reason, or even a Legend of Zelda character. See, like, normal monster, 4 stars, 1,300 attack. This was different times. It was the first expansion of Yu-Gi-Oh, man. Like, Power of Kaishin. Equip only to an Aqua monster against 300 attack and defense. Back in the day, it was just a race to see who had the strongest looking card. Oh, look, like I don't even remember the names of the rarity. It's like a secret rare or a rare or something, because the name is foil. Aquamador, man. This card back in the day was like, 4 stars, so like free, no sacrifices for a 1,200, 2,000 defense. Man, it's like the Soldier of Stone. You just put it. Ooh, the right leg of the Forbidden One, man. When you got these back in the day, you were like, oh my god, Exodia. But again, you need the 5 pieces. You can only have 1 in your deck of each, and summoning Exodia is a miracle. The thing is that since Yugi does it in the first episode, you're like, oh, okay, that's the thing. It's like, no. Actually getting Exodia out, there are Exodia support decks where the whole thing is shuffling to your deck as fast as you can, so you can get the 5 pieces of Forbidden One. And it's still a lottery. Look at this. Never was so happy to get a leg in my life. Nice. Mountain. Again, you can play with any of these, like all dragon, winged beast, and thunder monsters on the field gain 200 attack and defense. A field card. Kurama. Look at this, 800, 800. I remember the PlayStation game, just summon all of these. This was in the Kaiba deck as well. The Witty Phantom. No, sorry. Witty Phantom was in the Yugi deck, I think. No, Kaiba deck. 1,400, 1,300. It's like, wow, crazy. One thing that I miss about normal monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Though is the flavor text. Like, most of the cards nowadays are effect monsters, so they get no flavor text. So you lose a bunch of it, which in the case of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a shame, because this one says, dressed in a night black tuxedo, this creature presides over darkness. And one thing that I don't like too much about Yu-Gi-Oh! But I mean, I didn't notice it until I moved to other trading card games, is that most of the monsters are against whatever backgrounds. So it doesn't matter. It's just like against, effects. This is one of the few that is kind of incorporated in the background, but it's because that's the monster. It's a sandstone. But, so that was the first expansion. Now, Metal Raiders, 9 cards per pack. Oh, man. And this was so expensive for me back in the day, so prohibitive. I could only get like 1 pack per month, and that was like in a lucky month, and I had to beg for it. More infant. Oh man, this was again in the PlayStation game, and subsequent games like Game Boy and all that stuff. I think Game Boy Advance had some. Yeah, it was. But I played I don't remember the name of the game, the PlayStation 1 game that was like in ancient Egypt. Like the whole drama was in Egypt, the whole story of the game. You get this card, and the only reason why I could actually remember and play some of these cards is because of the PlayStation game, because this was useful in the PlayStation game, because most of your cards were 200 attack or something. Labyrinth Tank. Oh man, getting a fusion back in the day was such a pain, because you had like, let's say you get this card and you're like, oh my god, 200, 2,400, yay! And then it's like, no, but you actually need polymerization and Gigatech Wolf and Cannon Soldier. So good luck with that, my friend. The Mystic Lamp. This is where Lajin comes from. This monster can attack your opponent's life points directly. It's like, oh my god, crazy. Sure, I guess. You can do some combos with it though. Legul. This monster may attack your opponent's life points directly. Apparently that was the theme of Metal Raiders. The Great Moth. We all remember this. This card is not that good at all, but we all remember it because of Weevil Underwood. This monster cannot be normal summoned or set. This can only be special summoned by tributing Petite Moth on the 4th of your turns after Petite Moth has been equipped with Cocoon of Evolution. So this is the game design team trying to catch up to the crazy shit of the anime. Heaviest Storm, nice. Destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. So Wrath of God right here. Baby Dragon. See, this is one of these cards that is like, if Joey didn't use Baby Dragon with Time Wizard as much, you will be like, whatever. Like, oh, it's a 1200, 700, no, whatever. Much more than just a child. This dragon is gifted when on tap power. It's like, okay, whatever. Okay. But since Joey uses it, you're like, oh my god, the Baby Dragon, Disc Magician. And so that's the thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Jinzo 7. Let's see if we can get Jinzo number 1 in the Pharaoh Servant pack. Which actually, fun story, it was the first spell ruler. Yay! It was the first, you can see back in the day, like back in the background, you can see what was the card in the anime. Obviously, Blue Eyes White Dragon was the card here, and here was the Summon Skull fusion with the Blue Eyes, with the Red Eyes Black Dragon. So this was around the Labyrinth, because they fusion and then they switch. So this was, even though there is an expansion, there is Labyrinth of something, but this is around the time of the anime was in the Labyrinth. And this is right where Yugi was fighting Pegasus. The two of them, Pharaoh Servant and Magic Ruler, came together, and you can see that. What's the name of the creature? I don't remember the name of the creature. It's in the back. The creature that Pegasus basically invented for that game, which I always thought I was like. It's funny because Yu-Gi-Oh is full of bullshit because of the game itself in the Pegasus Island, in the Battle Island, Duel Island, or whatever it's called. It was kind of bullshitty because the rules are all over the place for the sake of spectacle. If you read the manga, you know that they actually play normal first and then they play with those rules. But Battle City is the one that actually plays with the normal rules. They just have less life points so that it's, it makes sense. Hey, Peacock, look at that. A Peacock for 5 stars. Like, what the hell is this? Slot Machine, again. 2 sacrifices for a 2,000, 200, 300. Because back in the day, that's interesting in terms of design as well. Yu-Gi-Oh! Had a different philosophy. Like, if a monster was balanced, like this one, 200, 2,000, 200, 300, it was more expensive. So most of the cards that are kind of good are less balanced. Like, it has 2,000 defense, but like 800 attack. It's 3 stars, because they were really trying to balance it. Although it doesn't matter if you're in attack position, you're in attack position. Just a card like Sword and Shield can actually turn that around, and it's not that common. Manga rerun, so the Toon Monsters, what a bunch of stuff. And Confiscation. Confiscation, I remember playing against this card back in the day. Pay 1,000 life points. Look at your opponent's hand, select one card in it, and discard the card. This is interesting because this card, I got it from a friend. They not this one, like an original one, because they were like, "Oh, this is useless." Because since everyone was playing by the anime rules, 2,000 life points, they were like, "I have to pay half of my life points for this. What's the point, right?" And that's why some cards like the Mystical Llama, etc., that said that this card can attack your opponent's life points directly, kind of validated that mystique around, that thing can attack the life point directly. That's nice, because by the Battle Island rules, you can attack life points directly, and you can only attack with a monster per turn, or more or less. It's not very clear what are the rules for Duel Island. Psychic Kappa, look at that. See, like 400, 1,000, 2 stars, because whatever. And Weather Report, pam 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 pam. This is a JoJo reference, my friends. Destroy all opponents face up Sword of Revealing Light on the field. If Sword of Revealing Light is destroyed, you can perform your battle phase twice this turn. This is such a specific card to get, right? But that was the thing. Pharaoh Servant, my favorite expansion ever in Yu-Gi-Oh! The first pack I opened was a Pharaoh Servant one, so that's why I'm biased. And I got a Sword Duelist, I think, if that's the name of the card, and I got Jinzo of all things. And I didn't know that Jinzo was that valuable, I was just like, okay, cool, But I treated like, gold, and actually it is. Minor Goblin Official. A fun fact is that, like, when Jinzo was used in Battle City, it only deactivated the other player's traps, and it was like, so you use it like that in the real life. So it made Jinzo even more broken. Darkfire Soldier, see, Here is where the power started to go more to the normal numbers that we know, like, okay, 4 stars, 1,700. Like, yeah, and the defense, no one cares about that. So this was more around what we were expecting. 4-star Ladybug of Doom. Flip, destroy all level 4 monsters your opponent controls. That's very useful. Prohibition. Activate by declaring one card name, cards with that name, and their effects cannot be used. Cards already on the field are not affected, including face-down cards. Ooh, Buster Blader. Oh my god. This is another that is like, this card is kind of okay, but Yugi used it, and is basically a Dragon Slayer. So this card is specifically to kill Blue Eyes White Dragons, right? It gets 500 attack for each dragon monster your opponent controls or is in the graveyard. So it's like, come on, right? Insect Imitation. Solemn Wishes. Amen, Solemn Wishes. Increases your life points by 500 points each time you draw a card or cards. Like, I think this thing is banned somewhere. Inspection. Nice. During your opponent's standby phase, you can randomly select one card in your opponent's hand and look at it at the cost of 500 life points. And Driving Snow. You can activate this card when one or more of your trap cards are destroyed or sent in the field from the graveyard by a card effects. Destroy one spell trap card on the field. Nice. Now, I don't care about the rest. Sorry, this is the end of the video. Dark Crisis. Black Exodia Necros on the back. You can tell, like, see, like, you compare, like, if you see some videos on this channel and you're like, okay, this guy plays Magic. He doesn't know all the details in Magic. He's not like a Magic Chad or anything, but he plays Magic. He knows some Magic. He knows a bunch about Pokemon, but not necessarily the Pokemon TCG. But then Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is when we come, we go down, right? It's like, oh, I know all this stuff. I know the anime, I know the cards. Like, come on. But I'm just disconnected from starting to a certain point. So this product is the perfect nostalgia blast. Goblin of Greed, Pot of Greed, that card is so banned because contrary to Pokemon and Magic, where the energies or the mana is your currency that dictates the rhythm in which you play, in Yu-Gi-Oh! That doesn't matter. What matters is card advantage. So getting more cards is actually like getting more mana. So any card that gives you more cards is basically a Black Lotus to a degree. Archfiend's Oath. See, like, these slaps, but it doesn't resonate with me as much. Metallizing Parasite, Lunatite. This is when Yu-Gi-Oh! Started to go crazy, right? Not like full crazy like right now, but look at that. Like, you need to read that effect. You need a magnifying glass. I can even, like, if I want you to read it, I can put it too close to the camera because you can read anything. It needs to be something like this. And it's like, once per turn during your mind phase, if you control a monster in the field, it's like, come on. Like, one thing that I like about Magic, there's something that when I started playing Magic, I was like, oh, okay, interesting, is that Ninkendog. See again, this was already like basic, like 4 stars, 1800. Basically, Lajin, which I think is from the Blue Eyes expansion or the spell, I don't know. That was the one that broke everything because everyone was like, wait a second, this thing is too powerful. And Sasuke Samurai number 2. Nice. But this is when, more effect cards were progressively introduced. You got some like weather report that were like very context specific. Now we're going to open Invasion of Chaos, the last booster. And they were like, very specific to certain counterattacks to specific cards. And by the way, the card in the back is the Magician of Black Chaos, which was another thing that Yugi just pulled out of his, like, that's the thing with Pegasus, for example. Pegasus, like Yugi and Pegasus, they have their tricks because of the Millennium items. So they basically just cheat all the time. But Pegasus did the unthinkable because technically, even though Yugi pulls stuff out of his ass, you can be like, okay, but that card exists. Like, that card was printed. Like, that thing is a thing. How the rules are applied, though, that's different, right? Because, that depends. By the way, the story of this creature, I don't remember what it's called, is Gaga. No, Gaga is something else. This is, I don't remember the name of this card, but this monster is featured in a bunch of cards telling its story, and I think it becomes best friends with this dude or something like that. I don't remember the story. But Pegasus basically fought versus Yugi, and he's like, oh yeah, Blazing Impachi from Tekken, basically. And basically like 4 stars, 1,850. It's like, come on, we don't care about defense. And he was like, oh, I have this card, which I don't remember the name of the card. Is the one that is on the back of the boosters. Relinquished. Yeah, Relinquished is the name of the card. So Relinquished, it was a card that he made specifically for that duel. It's like, dude, that's ultra cheating because, yes, Yugi pulls some stuff out of his ass and all that stuff, but it's like, at least the rules are the rules, I guess, even though the rules are not very clear in Duel Island. But Pegasus just brought a new card to a duel. It's like, because when Yugi pulls the stuff like, oh, Magician of Black Chaos, right? It's like, sorry, what? You never saw it, but technically that's a card. But Pegasus just brought stuff out of nowhere. So let's go, instead of doing the usual, like per category, let's go by booster. Because this is a different type of thing. Favorite card per booster. I think it's going to be the Leg of Exodia. Sorry, people. Even though it's kind of the most useless card in here, technically the best card will be Aquamador, I think. Aquamadur. But it's the Leg of Exodia. Come on. For the Spell Ruler, I think it's going to be Baby Dragon because nostalgia. Yeah, it's going to be Baby Dragon. Why not? Nostalgia is the name of the game in this box, so you know what's going to happen here. Weather Reporto is kind of interesting because of a JoJo reference, but I think it's going to be Weather Report. Yeah, Manga Rerun doesn't really do it for me. So it's going to be Weather Report right there. For Metal Raiders, no, sorry, Pharaoh Servant. This was Metal Raider, Spell Ruler, and now Pharaoh Servant. For Pharaoh Servant is going to be Buster Blader. Even though Minor Goblin Official was a big part of my deck back in the day. And for, I can't even remember the name of these ones. Dark Crisis. Ninken Dog is right there. I guess this is a better card, but I didn't even bother reading it. Goblin of Greed, why not? As long as this card remains face up on your side of the field, neither player can activate an effect by discarding from his or her hand. And the last one, which is the Chaos Ruler, Invasion of Chaos. Chaos Ruler is another one. Blazing Impachi, a hero emerges, and this is Dark Zoria or Saria, the zombie that is like every time you use it, it loses 400 attack. One thing that I like about Yu-Gi-Oh though is that most of the monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh don't have a background, so it's kind of meh. I'm going to go Chaos Sorcerer, where not? Like they're kind of meh in that regard. It's like the background is always whatever, is a mesh of stuff. But one thing that I like a lot is that all the spell cards and trap cards, or most of them, feature those creatures doing stuff. I see that this is the Zombie at Dark, I think is the name of the card. And the more you look around is actually like that. See, like the Archfiend card, this is the cards, the monsters that Thea used. I don't remember the name. It's like a wish or something, I don't remember. The Archfiend's card in here as well. Like that's the difference, right? Like the monsters themselves have a very generic background, but then you see them in spells and traps, and that's nice. By the way, trivia is that this was called Spell Ruler, by the way, and this is right around the time, if I recall correctly, like I am not checking Wikipedia, so bear with me, where the cards were changed from magic cards to spell cards. So these are reprints, obviously, and are fixed to spell cards. But at the beginning of the game, they were called magic cards because you had magic cards and trap cards. What's the problem is that they were magic cards. So obviously, Wizards of the Coast was like, bro. And they had to change it. So this was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legendary Collection 25th Anniversary Edition. This is how you do a anniversary product for your fans. In this case, it's 25 years. In the case of Magic, it's 30, but this is how you do it. The box is kind of meh, to be honest, and too big, honestly, for these cards. Like, any of these cards that you put in here, they're just gonna dance, Magic dance. Like, look at that. It's too big of a card to just, of a box to just put them like that. And if you put them like this, they still dance. So I don't know what's the point. Even double sleeve, they still dance. But overall, as a product, is great. Like, you get some reprints of stuff that no one gives a rat's ass, which I think is only because in Yu-Gi-Oh, again, they are not very playable. That's the thing. That's why they reprinted. It's just paper. No one cares. In Magic, is the opposite, right? In Magic, some of the oldest cards are the most powerful ones, so it's kind of backwards. Here, like, no one cares. You can have like the 3 legendary cards that everyone knows about, and no one cares because, like, they are normal monsters with no effects. You need to, like, support them with a bunch of stuff. And the Egyptian God cards, these are not even the tournament legal ones. These are the colored ones that are, like, whatever, right? So, but this is what is the thing. Like, when I buy this thing and I realize that Yu-Gi-Oh is 25 years old, and therefore I am very old, my friends. I am very, very old because I was a kid when this came out. First, you get the backlash of time, thinking, Jesus, 25 years already. But after that, it's just nostalgia. It's just you having fun memories about stuff that you opened back in the day and having fun. This is how an anniversary product should be. And it's just like $25, $20, $30, I don't know, depends on your local game store or something. But, like, come on, this is how you do it. This is great. No one will say this is a Konami product, looking at Konami's history, recent history. But again, this is great. And as a person that you still play Yu-Gi-Oh, this is a great nostalgic trip. You don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, which is, like, I think this is where the pack is kind of aimed for, to be honest. If you don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, this is even great because you just want the nostalgia thing, because you don't play Yu-Gi-Oh because, I don't know, you don't like Synchro monsters or XYZ monsters. Yes, there are XYZ monsters. If you just tune up, that's a type of monster. Or you don't like Link summoning or Pendulum summoning or whatever. I personally dropped at Pendulum because I was like, sorry, what? And but the game is still live and a lot of people play it. And Konami is trying to bring back the old nostalgic people with stuff like Duel Links, which is basically speed Yu-Gi-Oh, basic Yu-Gi-Oh. And even Duel Links is getting way out of hand again. But they can basically reprint the old cards and still give them some life, because otherwise no one cares about them. But yeah, this is for all people that stop playing, basically, and you just open the packs and you're like, oh my god, remember this, remember that. And let's be honest, the best thing that can happen is you pulling a Jinzo or something and you're like, oh man, I pulled a Jinzo, and it's like, yay, it has some use in some decks. But it's not super worth it, because in Yu-Gi-Oh, if you don't know, by the way, you can tell the set here, and then you have first edition of each, right? And the first editions have the hologram is gold instead of being silver, and it says first edition in this corner. None of this is first edition. All of these are reprints, and they say it in the corner somewhere. I don't know. They say like it's a well, it doesn't say it, but it says the copyright is copyright 2020, right? Like, you're not fooling anyone. Even if you, for example, I can go online and be like, oh, original Buster Blader, like mint condition, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, bro, but it says copyright 2020. Like, this is just for me to be like, oh my God, Buster Blader, right? That's all it matters. Like, this is for me to be happy like a kid again. And that's what a nostalgic 25th anniversary thing should be. For the people that are playing currently, you do a tournament or do something that hits more on that regard. But this is how you do an anniversary product. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but thank you, Konami. Wizards take some notes, I guess. And the Pokemon Company, they have some ideas on how to do this, and we will see them at the end of the year, I think, which is when they are releasing. But for now, Konami is in the first place in terms of how to do a nostalgic product for fans. So let me know what you think of this. Let me know what your most beloved Yu-Gi-Oh memories are. Like, what were your first boosters and stuff like that? Let me know that in the comments. Thank you very much for listening to me for half an hour about old man memories about a children's card game. And yeah, I hope you had a great time. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your time. This has been PAX and Recreation. Have a nice time. Bye.